We are small and we are mighty.
Yeah.
Denise, do you want to get something? You have your own tea already? You have your own tea, you're good to go. Or you want some chocolate? Miami tea? No. No? We started earlier this time, so. Okay. Welcome to Tinder Temple. We are doing it on Sunday afternoon when it's still summer, literally still summer out, you all are the hardcore ones. Okay, does it sound okay like this, or can I stand back a little bit like this? Closer? Closer? Okay, closer. So we're starting up again. This is our second round. It was so much fun last year. We did 6 of these, and it was just great. I mean, it was all kinds of topics, hormones and gut health and detoxification. So we're going to start back up, and it'll be a little different. Of course, as I grow, it'll grow and change too. So we'll have some of the core things around hormones tonight, but also I just want to share just some of my path, my experience, and I'm going to pass on some of, not wisdom necessarily, but lived experience that I'm really enjoying, and it's bringing me a lot of peace, and it feeds this work. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions about anything or something you really just need me to hit tonight? Great. Okay. As they come up, especially since we're smaller tonight, please ask questions. We benefit from each other. We all have gold for each other. And so, I know my human design. I'm a manifesting generator 4-6, which means I'm a responder. So I work best. Yeah. Missy's like, yeah, Missy. I work really well responding to your needs. So I now know that about myself, and so I don't force things that aren't there anymore, which is great. So my name's Allison Immel. I'm a PA. I actually know most of you. I'm a PA in town. I'm also a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, functional medicine specialist. Nutrition is the foundation of the way that I approach medicine. So is self-love and self-prioritization. So I teach the foundations. That's something that I feel really passionate about, that we all hit. The foundations of wellness: self-prioritization, self-love, clean nutrition and clean hydration, gut health and digestion and detoxification, sleep and healthy rest, nervous system regulation, building muscle and getting movement in your life, and then community connection and play. And that community connection and play, that's where this came from, was really wanting to how do we talk about this together? How do we bridge the gap between what we know we really need and getting it in medicine? And so I'm here to help you advocate for what you need in medicine, and also just to give you some guidance on what you can do for yourselves too. So hormones is hot. Hormones are hot right now. It's a popular conversation. There's a lot of controversy around hormone replacement therapy and what we need, and why we need it. Just before we even jump in, has anyone, and you don't have to share, but since you started coming to these, or in the last year, have you started on HRT? Okay, great, awesome. And have you noticed a big difference in your life and your well-being since starting on HRT? Okay, does anybody want to share any, 1 word, 2 words? Just, I hear it a lot. Overall, feel better.
Better sleep.
Better sleep. Yeah.
Less brain fog.
Less brain fog.
That one.
Brain fog. Yeah. And then, isn't it amazing just how quickly you slap that patch on and your brain comes back online? It's kind of crazy. We're going to talk about why it is like that, and why it has to. We just don't need to suffer. And anybody really hesitant about HRT? No. Okay. Just people not ready to start it, or just taking your time. That's the thing is it's so customized. You can pick it. You can start it at any time of your along your perimenopause and menopause journey, but it is there for you. And there are lots of other ways that you can support your hormones without replacing the hormones. But I'm a speedy person, and I like efficiency, and I also just sort of feel entitled to feeling awesome, since the world's not made for us. So that's the only thing I really feel entitled about. Yeah.
I had a hysterectomy many years ago,
Mhm.
and that was hormone therapy. And then my doctor said I didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, so this is really common. So she says that she had hysterectomy, was put on hormone replacement therapy, and then at one point just got taken off of that. Because, and we're going to talk about that, the Women's Health Initiative study told us that it wasn't safe to be on hormone replacement therapy. And it was a particular kind of hormone replacement therapy. And the benefits weren't studied well. So the benefits of HRT, which we'll cover, are cardiovascular prevention, brain health, osteoporosis prevention, and then just general sense of well-being. So a lot of physicians, and we certainly didn't get this in medical school. I was in PA school, which is like, truncated medical school. We were taught very, very little about it, and it was basically taught that it was a risk to give women HRT. Like, you can give it to people, and they're gonna feel a little better, but they might die of a heart attack, or might get breast cancer, or might get uterine cancer. And so there's about a 20-year generation or group of women that did not get HRT or got pulled off of HRT prematurely. And so those are the people that I see in clinic with chronic disease. So those are the people with a lot of the diabetes, they got it a little too early, or they're the ones that are have more complex chronic illness. So diabetes, osteoporosis, they're kind of the ones that have all of the things. Major brain fog, and then going into disability too early, having to retire too early, having cardiovascular problems too. So it's a big deal that people got pulled off of it. The conversation around it now is, well, what can I get back on it? And the answer we think is yes. You get to assume the risk, which we'll talk about, but it's your choice. And that's what I want you to walk away with, is it is your choice. And if your physician or your provider won't do that for you, then you can find someone who will work with you. Because there's enough information out there, I hear you. There's enough information out there, and there's enough research, and there is enough advocacy and sovereignty that you kind of get to do what you want. Yeah, Chris.
Some information that's floating around out there, and I know there's a lot of bad information on it, is that, if you've passed the age of 60, then you've missed the window and you shouldn't get on.
Yeah, so this is great that your questions are coming up, because we'll just jump in right now instead of waiting for a silly slide. So the question is really about, is there a window that gets missed, or is there increased risk associated with starting HRT later? The reason that they're concerned about that, first of all, the risk was identified with a certain kind of estrogen and a certain kind of progesterone. It was with oral estrogen and with a synthetic progestin, which I'm gonna have a slide. Actually, let's pull the slide up right now. Where'd the slide go? There. I mean, maybe it would have been better to leave it white with black titles, or lettering, but. So you can see on the left, you have transdermal estradiol patch with the micronized progesterone oral pill. And then on the right, oral estrogen with synthetic progestin. This right column, this is what all those studies are based on. So oral estrogen increases the risk of blood clots. That's what birth control does too. The progestins increase your risk of breast cancer. So that's what all these studies were on. And then the population that they increased the risk in was an older population that already had pre-existing conditions or morbidity due to inflammation and oxidative stress. So completely regardless of hormone use, these women already had increased risk of breast cancer and cardiovascular disease. So to respond to your question, the more birthdays we have, the more oxidative stress we're gonna get. Unless we're really, really mindful of reducing our inflammation and decreasing our oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is basically an overload of free radicals in the body, and that's happening in the liver. So if we are having more birthdays and we're not making conscious efforts to lighten the load on the liver, meaning we're not changing our lifestyle, we're still eating the same foods, we're eating fried foods, we're not adjusting our diet, we're not adjusting our exercise, we're not doing things that help the liver move things along, like phase 2 liver detoxification, like milk thistle and dandelion, or say you never sweat. Sweating is a huge way to decrease oxidative stress in the body. If you're not actively doing those things, that oxidative stress builds up. And that is actually what causes cancer, causes issues with free radical overload in the system. And so when we're talking about HRT and the safety and efficacy of HRT, we also, it's my responsibility to say, yeah, I'm so happy to put you on hormones. We have to address all the other lifestyle stuff too. Because I don't want anybody getting cancer on my watch. I don't want anyone having endometrial hyperplasia, that thickness of the endometrial lining, on my watch. And so if you haven't bled in a year and you get on HRT and all of a sudden you start bleeding again, that's the conversation we get to have about the thickened endometrial lining and how well you're clearing estrogen out of the body. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a lot, right? It's a long and windy road. But the gist is, you have an increased risk of developing some sort of cardiovascular disease or side effect or cancer associated with hormone use only if your liver is completely overloaded with toxins in the environment, foods that your body can't metabolize, and chronic stress. Those are the big ones. Okay, that lands. Okay. So I am very passionate about the spiritual path of the perimenopausal and the menopausal woman. I really do believe that perimenopause is a portal. I put all these things on here. Your tolerance shifts, the fuse shortens, sleep eludes you, energy wanes, focus blurs, vitality diminishes, the body softens, and words tend to sharpen. And part of this is like a rite of passage. This is an initiation. It's like, yeah, damn it, I want to say what I want to say, but take those filters away. You know, like we've earned it. We've put up with enough, right? This is what happens. So your cortisol levels just go up, and those progesterone levels go down. And that's really the first inkling that your hormones are starting to shift. When cortisol sustains and stays really high, it's going to steal away from the precursors to progesterone production and to DHEA production, that's your vitality hormone, and to estrogen and testosterone production. And so this extended chronic stress, this chronicity of stress, is ultimately what's going to start tanking your hormones. And that's where we start to see all of these symptoms in our lives. And symptoms aren't just physical symptoms. They're like, you're starting to question your marriage, or you're wanting to bail on your career, or all of a sudden your kids are just not that cute anymore, you know? I don't know where my kid is right now, but she is just still very cute. Just for the record, she's shopping. But this is common. I mean, I see so many women, and it's so, what's overwhelming to me is the story is the same. And it's my story too. I mean, I went through it early, and because it was so early, I didn't know really what was happening. And you just, you start to kind of burn off the things that don't serve you, and you kind of get closer and closer to your own essence. So it is this spiritual practice. It is this sort of medicine woman shamanic walk that happens to us because it has to. It's because we cannot withstand the patriarchy and the capitalism structures that have just conditioned us to go with the flow and acquiesce and accommodate everybody else and put ourselves lower on the priority list. So, you know, when I'm working with women, I'm not like saying like, you know, down with the man, not at all. Like, we got to lift the men up, right? We have to lift the men up, but we have to make sure that we're lifting ourselves up first and foremost. And they want it, and it's so interesting when they come in. All these women, they don't feel entitled to it yet. They don't feel like they're worthy of it yet, or they feel like they're bothering, or they don't, you know, is it okay if or what do you think about? Take up space. Take up space. It's totally an initiation. Anybody have anything they want to share or say about that? It's a beautiful thing. I mean, and it lasts, perimenopause, menopause, all the way, you know, it lasts a while, that transition period. It might last longer for some people who like aren't hearing the whispers. That's when we start to see autoimmunity really kick in too, is the late 30s, early 40s, when we start to see those progesterone levels drop and the cortisol levels go up. We'll start to see the immune system can't actually contain itself, because these are steroid hormones that can suppress an immune overreactivity. Yeah,
Can you share how you know when you're in perimenopause?
sure can. So there are all kinds of signs and symptoms, but really, like I said, the first one that you're going to start to notice is that all of a sudden you're very irritable. Irritability is the big one. Like the things that didn't used to bother you, all of a sudden are really bothering you. And that's because that progesterone starts to drop. Another sign is shortened periods, shortened cycles. So you might, we'll say irregular periods. You might have a longer cycle, but a lot of women, that early sign of low progesterone is a 26, 25, 24 day period, and they're getting lighter. So the lighter period is the estrogen loss. The the shorter cycle is the progesterone loss. If you're having irregular periods that are still heavy, your estrogen's going like this. So you might have a month where it's super light, and then you have a month where it's super heavy. And that's just because you're getting this surge of estrogen in that second cycle, and your body can't clear it efficiently. Estrogen metabolism is huge. So the things that interrupt your estrogen metabolism are going to be like chronic stress, sugar, overconsumption of fats in the diet, plastics, chemical fragrances, mold in the home. All these things interfere with phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification. So that's going to get in the way of estrogen. I'm going to tell you, sugar is the big one. I'm so mean about sugar. I'm so mean about it. Ask my daughter. I'm super mean. Sugar and screens. Oh my God. But these are symptoms that you can experience. So with estrogen deficiency, you're going to start to see hot flashes and night sweats. Maybe waking up between 1 and 4 a.m. all sweaty and hot. Vaginal dryness and painful intercourse. This is one of the first things that we start to see, especially in urogynecology. And a lot of women will say, well, we use lube and we're fine. And if you're noticing you're having to use more and more lube, then that means that you're starting to lose estrogen in the vaginal tissue. And again, that's one of the first places you start to see it decline. You'll see it also just in this vein, crepey skin, dry skin, hair loss. All of a sudden you just don't have that same tone and turgor to your skin. That's an early sign. Sleep disturbances, like I said, estrogen keeps you asleep, so if you just can't stay asleep. If you get to sleep and they can't stay asleep, that's estrogen deficiency. Mood swings and irritability, just that tearfulness. Again, it could be estrogen deficiency, but it's also estrogen swings. Just that inconsistent ovulation every other month. Bone loss and increased fracture risk. So, I forget who said it. I think it's Carrie Jones. She's a famous hormone doctor. And she says perimenopause, or Lisa Mosconi said it. Yeah, dementia starts in your 40s during perimenopause. So she says that this is when we start to see those early brain changes, and we're classifying this brain fog. But if you have brain fog, and I'm not saying if you have brain fog you're going to get dementia, okay? I'm not. Oh, by the way, this evening is all for educational purposes. This is just for community learning. I'm not prescribing, diagnosing, or making any sort of specific recommendations for any person in this room. We agree?
Yes.
Great. I do. Okay. So bone loss, osteoporosis, and dementia. We say these are conditions of our 60s and 70s. These things are starting well in your 30s and 40s. Cardiovascular disease, cancers, these things are slow brewing. Smoldering diseases that we can prevent if we can identify this chronic stress, this adrenal issue, and then these hormone deficiencies that are starting to occur. And then cognitive changes, so memory and focus. Like all of a sudden you're just like, I can't pull it. I can't get that word. Like oh my God, I know your name. I can't grab it. Oh my gosh. Or an address, or walking into a room and not knowing why you came in that room. Sometimes that's sleep. Sometimes that's overwhelm, but sometimes it can be a sign of estrogen deficiency. And then progesterone deficiency, irregular or heavy periods. So if that progesterone is dropping, you're not opposing estrogen. So if we say estrogen is the fertilizer that makes the grass grow, progesterone is the lawnmower that keeps it trimmed. So on your uterine lining, the more estrogen you have, the thicker that lining is going to be. The progesterone keeps that estrogen checked so that you don't get an overproliferation of endometrial tissue or an overgrowth. We call that endometrial hypertrophy, just too much growth of the endometrial lining. That's when we see heavy periods, heavy painful periods. And so it can either be a progesterone deficiency, and that's going to happen before you even enter into perimenopause, or it's an estrogen metabolism issue, and it can be both. And estrogen metabolism also occurs in the gut. This is a liver issue, but it's also a gut issue. If you have any constipation, you're not clearing your estrogen efficiently. That's why we're so hardcore about magnesium. I don't care what you do, you just need to take magnesium and poop every day. So you gotta poop every day. We gotta poop every day. I'll tell a fun story about that later. I gave a talk on Thursday night to a group that didn't know me very well, and I was super comfortable talking about poop and sex, and I saw some sort of shocked faces, and I looked over at my friend whose clinic it was, and I was like, am I cool? She's like, okay, you're fine. I was like, you sure? I don't want to scare anybody off. We're very comfortable talking about bowel movements. So PMS symptoms like breast tenderness. So breast tenderness is a big one. This is an estrogen clearance issue. If you don't have enough progesterone, you're going to be producing too much estrogen. Unopposed, you're going to have that breast tenderness. Sleep problems, especially difficulty staying asleep. So I see this clinically, difficulty staying asleep, but also that difficulty getting to sleep. Say progesterone puts you to sleep. So if your mind is racing, you go put your head on your pillow and you're like, oh my God, I need to do this, this, this. That's a progesterone deficiency. So your body would respond pretty well probably to doing oral progesterone, which is the first thing I prescribe in perimenopause. And even if you're menopausal and you don't necessarily want to get on estrogen, oral progesterone micronized is body identical, very safe. And it's if you're on any sort of anti-anxiety medication, I would invite you to try progesterone instead of the anti-anxiety medication. But discuss that with your medical provider. Anxiety or feeling on edge, just that, it really is, it's that fuse. And I wish that someone would have identified this in my marriage. Just that irritability that you feel, I was in it, I was teaching this stuff and treating it, but I couldn't see it myself. So we kind of need, I want you to be aware of it. If you're gripey and irritable, tell people around you, hey, just remind me, if I'm ever irritable, just make sure I'm taking my progesterone. You can do that. Water retention and bloating, again, that progesterone deficiency and estrogen dominance, and mutual overgrowth risk without balance. Talks about that. And then testosterone deficiency. Oh my God, I love testosterone so much. I love it so much. We're underdosing testosterone. We're undertreating. Just so you all know, as a medical community, we are undertreating and underdosing testosterone replacement therapy. Okay? It's not scary. We're bad at it. We're getting better at it though. So low libido and sexual satisfaction, that's what we all know about it, but it's really important for motivation. It promotes dopamine production, so it's helping you with focus and inspiration and creativity. Reduce muscle mass and strength. We definitely start to lose muscle mass after age 35. It's like cortisol thing. We're competing with stress all the time. That's why you don't necessarily, you may not need hormone replacement therapy if you lived on the coast of Baja and just, got to hang out and journal and, eat shellfish every single day. You probably wouldn't need it. Your adrenals would be just fine. They make just enough, but that's not what is anyone doing that? Take me with you. Yeah. I cook. Fatigue and low motivation, cognitive dullness and low drive. Again, it's just that creative fire is dead or just dull. You're not churning like you used to be. The things that used to light you up don't light you up anymore. And then bone density loss, less pronounced than estrogen, but it still contributes to it. And then overall sense of vitality is reduced. So this is I love the word vitality. I know you guys know that, but just that's what we're here for. To engage with the planet and engage with each other and to be in love and to be in beauty. And when your hormones are low, because the chronic stress is high, you can't engage with the world in the same way that you otherwise would. There's a different plane of existence. Does anybody feel that when you're on hormones from when you weren't? Yeah, you're just back online. You're oh yeah, fruit tastes good. Sex is good. It's pretty. I like Olympia. It's not that dark. That's me talking to myself. Sauna and skiing help that too. So bioidentical HRT. So when we talk about HRT, this is the only HRT we're talking about. We are only talking about body identical. We're not talking about anything synthetic. We're not talking about anything oral. Maybe a liposomal tablet, but in general, we are talking about estrogen through the skin and oral progesterone in a capsule that's body identical. So nothing synthetic. And so people used to confuse compounded hormones with bioidentical hormones. Bioidentical hormones have been available commercially forever, since the 40s. The deal was they were mostly generic, and so companies made a conjugated synthetic, and so then they were able to, crank the price up and, they were able to make more money. But we know that is that contributes to the risk of certain cancers. So we use transdermal estradiol, either in a patch form or in a cream form. Some people get pellets, and that works really well for them. I only recommend pellets if you've identified your dose. If you've really, really dialed in your dose, because it's going to be consistent. It's going to be a consistent amount. You can't really play with it. Once they're in for a while. And you will see a drop, and then you can't necessarily do anything about it. You can't go back in necessarily and get new pellets before it's time. But that's by provider. Yeah.
What about the vaginal suppository for that?
Yeah. So much to say. So the vaginal suppository, that's vaginal estrogen, which is a separate class altogether from HRT. So this is really a really great question. Vaginal estrogen is lower dose, lower potency, and it's specific to the vaginal tissue. So we have in our HRT package, what I would prescribe is a transdermal estradiol patch, oral progesterone, oral prometrium, vaginal estradiol cream or vaginal DHA cream or suppository, and transdermal testosterone. So it's like 4 things. We are high maintenance human beings. I mean, that's just fine. We're worth it. So the vaginal estrogen does not have a systemic effect typically on the body. Some women who are really sensitive or their vaginal tissue is really thin, the estrogen is going to get in through that vaginal epithelium if it's really thin and can get into the bloodstream. But once that epithelium thickens, the estrogen stays put in the vagina. So, not for you. Okay. Some people are more sensitive than others. So, and that's an estrogen metabolism thing too. So, transdermal estradiol plus micronized progesterone is effective for hot flashes, night sweats, and vaginal dryness. You do get some protection from systemic HRT against vaginal dryness, but if it doesn't resolve it, then you need vaginal estrogen as well. And that's mainly because there are more estrogen receptors in the very front of in the back of the vagina. So you may not feel pain with sex inside the vagina, but you might feel pain upon entry. And that's because the front part of the vagina has fewer estrogen receptors. So your body's getting it to the back of the vagina. I usually do like a little hand like this. The back part of the vagina right here has more estrogen receptors. The front, where your urethra is, has fewer, which is one of the reasons a lot of women will use vaginal estrogen cream on the front. Protects against recurrent UTI, things like vestibulitis, an inflammation of the vaginal opening, just right where the urethra is. Urgency, frequency, and then stress incontinence. So vaginal estrogen helps with all of those very specifically in the front of the vagina. It protects bone density and reduces fractures while in use. So the combination of the two lowers the risk of a blood clot, that's venous thromboembolism, compared to oral estrogen. So again, oral estrogens increase your risk of blood clots, pulmonary embolism, DVTs, clots in the veins. Transdermal estradiol does not do that. There's lots of data to support that, and we see it clinically. And then micronized progesterone shows it's more favorable for the protection against breast cancer and cardiovascular disease. So again, in that study, the breast cancer risk was it was like 1 in 1,000, by the way. The risk was so small, but it was the thing that the Wall Street Journal got their hot little hands on and then just wrote a headline, and then all of a sudden everybody got really scared. Okay, so it wasn't even that significant of a risk with the progesterone use. But the natural progesterone is associated with protection against breast cancer and cardiovascular disease, and the progestin, the synthetic progestin, is associated with slightly increased risk of breast cancer. It's kind of interesting, right? Like they're similar molecularly. There's actually an increased protection with one and increased risk with the other. Okay. Then the oral estrogen and synthetic progestin is definitely effective because they behave similarly to the body. They help with bone density, prevent fractures, but they do have a higher risk of stroke and blood clot. Breast cancer risk is stronger, and then less favorable cardiovascular and metabolic profile. So you're not going to see the same protection benefit on your cholesterol and on your bone density scans as you would with the natural. Any questions? So there are some non-hormonal and botanical supports for perimenopause and beyond. So lifestyle foundational stuff for sure. So you want to anchor that circadian rhythm. Sleep is so important for healthy hormones. And the deal with the hormones is we don't want to give you a bunch. The more stuff we give you, the more your body has to clear and metabolize. Like, I want you clearing and metabolizing your proteins, your healthy fats, and your herbs. You know, I want you focusing on lightening the load. We talk about that in the detoxification lecture. So, as much as you can improve sleep so that your body detoxes efficiently, the less hormone you're going to need to be on. Most you're going to have to crank things up. So, to bed at the same time every day, getting up at the same time every day, really being in touch with your rhythm. Again, this is initiation. This is you coming to your essence, identifying what works best for you, and honoring it. Not letting anything come in, protecting it. Protecting it from other people's expectations of you, protecting it from partners and spouses' schedules, protecting it from other people's dietary preferences. You are the center of your universe. You're the most important thing, and everybody else should be too. We should all just be stars glowing, walking around, bouncing off each other. Radiant, shining stars, tending to our own solar radiance, okay? So that means you protect your sleep, protect your diet, protect your time, protect your schedules. Reduce that light exposure at night. You know, we're all on our phones, but changing it from blue light to the orange light as much as you possibly can. Eliminating Wi-Fi exposure and EMF exposure in the house when you can. I wear a little Harmony pendant, and we used to turn the Wi-Fi off, but now I have a teenager who seems really late and needs the Wi-Fi late. Who am I kidding? I stay up late and do stuff on it too, so I need the Wi-Fi late too. So there are ways to mitigate some of that EMF exposure, but just getting to bed on time is really important. Melatonin is great. I think people are like, oh, I don't want to turn off my pineal gland production of melatonin. It's like, you need to sleep. I would rather you take melatonin and be dependent on melatonin and get good night's sleep than resist melatonin use because you're worried about something that may or may not happen and have terrible sleep and continually increase your risk of cardiovascular disease and high cholesterol and insulin resistance. I mean, we didn't make this mess. Okay, we didn't make this mess out there with the pollution. I mean, we've contributed to it, but we're not the ones. So we need to use what we got so that we can thrive within it, so that we can actually overcome what the system or the conditioning has tried to do. And I'm not talking about blaming anything. I don't have a political agenda, but we are stressed and we are tired and we are toxic because of the world out there. So use what you got. If you need melatonin, use melatonin. If you need HRT, use the HRT. Am I confronting anyone or am I resonating with everyone? Resonating, okay. Would you tell me if I'm confronting? I would hope that you would. This is a very vulnerable safe space. Okay. Stress management, so definitely breath work, meditation. Breath is free. Breath is free. So yes, progesterone's awesome, and so is your exhalation. So exhalation's gonna lower your cortisol levels. So in diviners, I mean really, if you get triggered, you get feisty, you get low short fuse, low tolerance, just breathe. Just tap out for a minute, you're allowed. It's so worth it. Just tap out for a second. You feel it coming up in you and you're saying things that you're like, oh, I know better. I know better. Just breathe. Get into that belly, touch your heart, close your eyes. That presence, because it's all these attempts to pull us out of our presence, right? So just coming back to presence when that requires us slowing down, which is another beautiful thing about perimenopause and menopause. Our asses have to slow down. We can't do it like we used to do it. Our governors are reset in a different way. We just can't push beyond. You feel that, right? You notice it? I just don't do it how I used to do it. Anybody feel that? Okay, that's good. That's protective. That's self-honoring. The fact that we are expected to keep up with men on a diurnal path, they're with the sun. They go with the sun every day. They go hard and then they come down and they rest. We're with the moon. We do this, And we're supposed to come up and be creative and then rest and go in and talk to our girls and then come up. It is not meant to be the same. We're not just men with boobs, And so when you feel a call to be slower, when you're like, oh my God, I just can't do 7 things at once. I can only do 5. Good. You get an award for that. You just get to pat yourself on the back and, enjoy your non-alcoholic mocktail and, low glycemic snack or whatever. Okay, meditation for sure. If we're not meditating, meditation, who meditates? Okay, if you don't meditate, what else do you do? Yoga. You said it together. Yeah.
Dance, sing.
Yeah. Yeah. Walk. Yeah. What do all those things do? Breathing, and then where are you in those things? Present, yeah, and in your body. Yeah, our minds are so silly. They're so busy and so noisy. All of our truth, especially for women, is in our heart space and in our womb space. There's all that wisdom. We are connected via ancestral lines. I mean, all humans are. It doesn't matter what you label yourself as. But this feminine, this intuition, this receptivity, this is something that we are invited, especially now, to cultivate. Because the world needs our softness. It needs our fierceness, but it needs our softness. And in that, that requires slowness and stillness and a dropping in to your wisdom. Like, think about it, like, you know, when you're trying to make a decision, we waste a lot of glucose and you know, source energy in here. When sometimes we're just like, what does your gut say? Like, oh, I know that. I can make that decision super fast. So, at minimum, if you just want to be a more efficient human being, you just want to stay in your heart, in your present space. And that's why some of these hormones actually really help you, because it's so interesting. There is such a spiritual component to this HRT. It's like if you are low in all these hormones, you are in your head more. You're also trying to figure out what in the world's going on to you with you. Like, oh my God, I can't think anymore. I can't sleep anymore. And so now I'm like, I'm broken. Oh my God, I'm aging. Oh my God, no one's helping me. I keep asking for hormones. So it's all very cerebral. That's the masculine. Like, we need all that too. But the answers really are lower in this gut, heart space. That lands? Everybody feeling that too in this time of your life? Anybody still struggling to kind of get to that place of listening to your gut and your heart? Yeah.
Reconciling the, it's never too late. Just because I'm 52 doesn't mean I can't do this. Reconciling that with like what you just said, we are naturally going to slow down and embrace that. So I'm kind of in this internal battle with, I don't know if it's a fear of death or I'm hanging on, I'm going to suck every ounce of this life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So that reconciliation of slowing down, but also just wanting to be creative and productive. Yeah, you get to be both. I mean, the thing is, we're just not spinning our wheels. Our wheels are just getting traction. You know, you slow down and you're like, every single bite, you're more creative, you're more fecund, like everything's more fertile. When we slow down and we ground into this brilliance and this wisdom, we actually are just as creative, if not more. And that creative expression is much more of a manifestation of your true self than you trying to produce to impress anybody else or to meet the demands of anything outside of you. When we're slower and we're grounded, we are just better versions of ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we don't like to be fast. I like speedy. But I don't like speedy as much anymore. I like little sprints. I like to be speedy and then I like to just rest. And speedy and rest. Because that speedy stuff, that drains your adrenal glands.
yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about here in a second too. Thank you for sharing that. I think that so many women, so many humans, we all share that experience. So appreciate it. Exercise, resistance training, put the muscle on. Everybody needs to put some muscle on. We say lift heavy shit. You gotta lift heavy stuff. The muscles are gonna be, remember with estrogen loss, we lose a lot of our optimal glucose metabolism capacity. And so when you aren't metabolizing glucose as efficiently, you do see an increased risk of developing prediabetes or insulin resistance. Muscles use glucose completely independently from the insulin response. So the more muscle you have, if you're not into exercise, at minimum, do squats. 30 squats a day, just do them. It'll change your life. You'll see your belly fat go down. You'll see your blood sugar stay more stable. You'll see your cravings go down just by doing squats. If you want to add a little bit of weight, put a weighted vest on, hold a dumbbell, something, but just start doing some squats. Any questions about that? It's magical, independent of insulin. Independent, it's like muscles are the key to like metabolic stability. And they say the muscles are the currency of longevity. So we don't need to be doing like hours on the treadmill. Everybody's clear on that. No more hours on the treadmill, period. If you want to go on a treadmill, 20 minutes, do a HIIT workout. But don't run or fast walk for 60 minutes. That drains your adrenals. That's going to send your body into hypercortisol production, and it's going to start storing fat. It's going to make you more insulin resistant, and it's going to throw your blood sugar levels off. So you get to be, the word of the night, I've decided, is efficiency. So this is efficient. We only need to lift weights twice a week to get the benefit, and when we do workout, we just do it in bursts. If you do it in bursts, you won't drain your adrenals, and you actually get way more cardiovascular benefit. with HIIT training. And then play things you like to play, like sports. It's a really good time. Like play sports as long as you can. Ski, play tennis, play pickleball, like these things, anything that requires hand-eye coordination, super important to do. If you haven't picked anything up and you're in your 30s, 40s, start now. Pick up a sport, a game of some sort that requires physical activity and hand-eye coordination, and for you to learn something. Remember, we always want to grow our anterior cingulate cortex. It's the part of your brain that pushes towards hard or moves past hard things. Yeah, Beth?
I really love like lifting weights and working out, and I'll go 5 or 6 times a week sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that
That's great.
fine?
Yeah, it's really the cardio that you, when you're going beyond, when you can feel it, you're like, I just need to get an hour in, you know, but it doesn't actually feel good. If it makes you feel tired afterward, it's too much. But if you just love it and it makes you feel great and you're in a rhythm already with it, that's great. And as long as your markers are good, as long as your HSCRP isn't elevated and you're not seeing bumps in your cholesterol and you're not seeing a dip in your cortisol, that's good. You're just extra efficient. Nutrition, protein. We say roughly 90 grams of protein a day. I don't get that. I don't know a whole lot of people who do. I think all the gurus get that, you know, because they're walking their talk, but it's just really hard to get 90 grams of protein in. Just focus on getting your protein in so that you're full. So eggs, beef, chicken, those are, you know, fish, those are really important to get in. We have the teeth for it. And we have the guts for it. We have the hydrochloric acid to break down all that protein we're meant to. We don't have the capacity to break down the amount of carbohydrates that we were told to eat in the 90s and the 80s. It gave everybody SIBO and gut problems. Yeah.
So can you tell me what, if not 90, a reasonable number of grams of protein looks like? Like how many decicards of chicken are we talking?
Yeah. So like a deck and a half of carbs 3 times a day. That's a lot. I don't get it, but when I do sit down to eat meat, I eat a lot. I mean, my freezer, I get Butcher Box and Wild Pastures delivered on rotating schedule every other month. So I just have Butcher Box 1 month, and then I have Wild Pastures, so that way I always have meat. So I'll just pull out a steak, pull out a pound of beef. Like last night we were moving meatballs. I didn't make them. The kids made them. It was awesome. And they're like, how many should we get? I go, get out 3, 3 pounds. And they're like, that's a lot. I was like, we're gonna eat it, you know. And so, you know, we made them 3 pounds of meat. There were just 3 of us. At 3 pounds of meat, we ate definitely over a pound just in a meal. I mean,
Each?
No,
Okay.
probably we ate half of them. So we each had about a half a pound of meat. Well, Ethan needs more. We want, you know, 160 pounds. Like he eats a little bit more. But Maya, you can put the meatballs away too, right? Yeah. What? Don't look at me. Maya's really tall. This is my daughter Maya. Here. Oh, and thank you. I didn't even do my normal thing. I'm so sorry. Chia's helping tonight, and she's always here to support me. It's so great. And then Amanda's here from Traditions, and I'm really grateful you got the microphone hooked up because my voice is already fading. But it's the first time Maya's joined me. And thank you to Soul Cafe for having us, by the way. Yeah. I'm so off my flow.
Can I ask a question about protein?
Yep.
What about kidneys?
Yeah, if you have kidney disease, but if you have kidney disease, you have to be mindful. But you're not going to damage your kidneys if your kidneys are healthy.
Okay. I borderline, like I need to be careful, and I notice that I eat more meat, like
It's worse. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's something. If you are monitoring your GFR and your BUN, you have to keep an eye out for that, and you have to make sure that your digestive capacity for meat is high. So then you're looking literally at the chemical digestion, the hydrochloric acid. So you want to make sure that you have enough HCl to break down efficiently, so that that protein that gets broken down doesn't actually cause damage to the your nephrons.
So would that be like betaine HCl?
Yes. Yeah, she asked if it's betaine HCl. So yeah, hydrochloric acid in the form of betaine HCl. So you can also do apple cider vinegar before meals that can instigate hydrochloric acid production, and then digestive bitters. So you can put, I love those, Urban Moonshine digestive bitters. You can take those before a meal. Those are amazing. If you're not quite ready for a digestive enzyme and you want to do something very gentle, very safe, bitters are really safe. And we got to move towards the love for the bitter. When people say that, oh, I hate bitter, oh, I hate kale, I'm like, lean into that. Pretty much. I mean, that's my advice for you and everything. If you resist it, lean into it. That's probably what you need. But bitters will increase hydrochloric acid production, which, if your HCl is sufficient, that's going to trigger that whole downstream effect, and it's going to improve digestion overall. So if you have any digestive issues, constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating, GERD, anything, start up north meaning way up here, and you do the digestive bitters. Great question. Yeah, Arena.
So in addition to like doing the digestive bitters, how do you lean into bitters? You're a sweet tooth.
Really gonna get rid of your sweet tooth. Okay, so the things that cause cravings are high cortisol, really. I mean, having high cortisol and having high stress environments, and then just, that's on the surface level. So that's trauma, not to dive into anything personal. So that is being wired for fight flight. So that's where you go into like the big hard work, the emptying out, like feeling your feelings, getting into your grief, feeling your anger. Anything you've suppressed, if you really want to rewire your nervous system, you got to go there. Talk about leaning into resistance. So if you don't like kale, you need to go work with a shaman, basically.
Kale and soup is fine.
Yeah, okay, kale soup. You missed my joke, but that's okay.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, kale, so when you cook the kale, you're neutralizing some of those bitter components, those bitter compounds. The bitter compounds are really essential. They are natural GLP-1 producers, promoters in the body. And so that's why we want you to eat lots of green food, especially when you eat protein. You want those, they're called thylakoids. And so if you really resist bitter, that means that your tongue is just really used to sugar. So I don't know if you remember back in the day, the first line therapy stuff, like we would say 3 days, no sugar, and you're fine. If you can go 3 days without it, your body and your brain stop craving it. And your tongue naturally will move towards preferring a bitter flavor or bitter taste. But if you don't like bitter, it's because the sugar's is stealing the show. Okay. Weight management, modest weight loss reduces hot flashes and improves cardiovascular or metabolic risk. And this has a lot to do with cortisol and glucose production. So you start to lose body fat and visceral fat. You have more stable blood glucose levels. Then you're not bouncing, your blood glucose isn't bouncing around, and cortisol's not bouncing around with it. Remember, when blood sugar spikes, insulin follows it to get it into the cell. If your blood sugar is way too high, you're going to produce way too much insulin. Blood sugar drops. When blood sugar drops, cortisol goes up. That's going to make you anxious, crave more sugar, disrupt your sleep, make you cranky. Okay, so that's why we love protein and fat. Not too much fat, but just the right amount of good healthy fats. Keep your blood sugar stable instead of big. Okay. Yeah.
I have one. So on the nutrition.
Yeah.
I saw the limit alcohol commentary.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a little bit more information as to what that means.
Allow me.
Yeah. So I am someone who likes my glass of wine at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And just so you know, zero shame, zero judgment on alcohol. We don't do that. We don't judge each other. We don't shame each other. We got enough stuff going on in the world. We love each other and we see each other and we say, yes, I see you and I love you and everything. All of you is welcome here. So I don't have any judgment or shame stance on alcohol. I love red wine and I love tequila. Okay. It's really bad for our bodies. It's literally poison. Okay. It takes up so much energy and so much space in phase 2 liver detoxification that it completely interferes with your ability to clear estrogen and cortisol and the world from your liver. So if you lived in a super clean environment and there were no plastics and no food and you had zero stress and there was no air pollution, I would say a glass or 2 of wine per night would probably be fine. That is not the case for us. So if you're going to do wine and you want to do it every night, just do a small amount. Just do a small amount and take some liver support with it. I mean, I say it's mean to take people's coffee away. It might be mean to take people's, if you're like, especially if you're Italian or French or something, to take your wine away too. But just please know that our livers can't accommodate everything the world's throwing at us, plus alcohol on top of it, and be efficient hormone producers and hormone metabolizers. That's all. It contributes to waking between 1 and 4 a.m. And it just spikes your blood sugar. It's straight sugar. So, but it's, if it's appreciated and enjoyed for celebration, like you get to be a human. You get to have joy. You get to experience your life, It's just assuming, it's like everything, you just assume risk. Without shame and without guilt. Anybody else want to talk about booze? Yeah.
Just, for me, it was, because I love wine, and occasionally I will still really love and enjoy wine, but most of the time, it just totally wrecks my sleep, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we again, assume risk, it's a cost benefit analysis every single time. You know, the more birthdays we have, it goes back to the burden. It's like, what can your liver handle? What can your lymph system handle? What can your gut handle? If you really wanna do that, and if you're going on a big trip and you wanna drink while you're on your trip, and you wanna experience something while you're there, do it. Take the liver support with you. Charcoal before bed really helps to grab it, so it's not weighing on the body. Take plenty of magnesium so you make an epic bowel movement in the morning, and it also helps you sleep. Take your cortisol manager before bed so your glucose isn't bouncing around all over the place. And berberine, super helpful for stabilizing blood glucose levels so it doesn't spike your blood sugar and so that you don't wake up. And then a liver support of some sort. So I mean, if you want to drink wine, just take 5 supplements. It's fine. Drink all the wine you want. Here's $500 worth of supplements to maintain your alcohol dehydrogenase production. I love these questions. So this is yeah, Chris.
Do you have a recommendation for the amount of berberine?
I do. Yeah. I'm really happy to be able to refer to research on this. So berberine is 500 milligrams 3 times per day with meals. Everyone's underdosing this one. So berberine is not essential, it's helpful in fatty acid metabolism, so it's gonna help you utilize the fat from your food and turn it into good healthy molecules that your body can make into healthy cholesterol for healthy hormone production. Stabilizes blood glucose levels so you don't have spikes and valleys during the day. It helps to build body mass and reduce fat mass. It helps with mood and with laxity. So if you're one of these loosey-goosey people, hypermobile, always twisting your ankles, berberine helps to stabilize that. And it does that by modulating a cortisol pathway in steroid hormone production. Berberine really specifically acts on this one pathway and makes it work well so that you're not getting big spikes in cortisol. So this means that this helps to stabilize your stress levels. Thank you, Parker.
Thank you.
We'll leave you some chocolate, okay? Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for everything. Y'all take care. Have a good night. So it stabilizes blood glucose levels. It stabilizes your cortisol. It prevents this laxity. All of this is going to help you stay out of fight flight. So if you're not producing cortisol in response to stress, then you'll be able to be in rest digest, which is going to help you make your digestive enzymes produce HCl, make your thyroid work better. What we're trying to do in hormonal regulation is balance the HPA axis. This is the hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, gonadal thyroid axis. What happens is we stay in this state of chronic stress, and then the communication between the glands in the body and the brain gets messed up. All your feedback loops now are compromised. And so your body just says, just turn it all on all the time. So then your chronic cortisol production, stay in fight, flight. That's when your endocrine, immune system, digestive functions don't work. I'm not saying berberine fixes everything, but it hits a lot of targets. Yeah.
Is that a long-term supplement?
You can take it long-term, yeah. Some people like to pulse it. They'll say take it for 3 months, come off of it for a month. I think that's fine with anything. I don't know if you've noticed this, but people kind of naturally do that. They like take something for a while, and they're like, I'm feeling pretty good, and they'll get off of it, and then they'll be like, it's time to restart it. And not to say that you have to be on it all the time, and then you wouldn't feel that, oh gosh, I should restart it. I think that we are pretty in tune with our bodies, and we sometimes we're just forgetful, and we're not remembering our supplements, but sometimes we're really in tune. We're like, I don't think I need that right now. I need to take a break. Some people criticize berberine for wiping out your good flora in the gut. Everybody's got too much dysbiosis in the gut. Most people. So I don't see stool tests come back with like beautiful microbiomes. Everybody's got stuff. And so I think the EMFs, please don't quote me on that. Like, I do not want to be targeted as a crazy provider who thinks that 5G is killing everybody. Which we know, like studies show that high EMF production increase the level of LPS that is put off by bacterial pathogens. What that means is bacteria, it's because it's radiation. I mean, radiation does stuff, like we microwave our food, it heats our food. Like, we use radiation to treat cancer. Like, we know radiation does stuff. So the EMF radiation, it destabilizes the cell wall of bacteria, so then they release their endotoxin more. And that's the same thing for mycotoxins, and so you'll see an overgrowth of bad bacteria or molds in areas where there's higher EMF radiation. So that's not to scare everybody because we're like living in this world and that's fine, but just everybody's got a little bit of an overgrowth. So it's kind of okay to take berberine all the time. Or berberine is found in nature. It's Oregon grapefruit. Like that's the most common thing we find here. If you cut Oregon grape, like it grows pretty wildly in some gardens, and so if you have to cut it out, you'll see that root is bright yellow. Have you seen that before? Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's the color of the pancreas. It's the color of like the sun. It's all about digestive fire, metabolic fire. So it's actually, I think that it's a gift from nature. I just don't think there are any accidents. I think berberine is really important in perimenopause and menopause. Thanks for bringing it up.
Do you have a recommendation for a particular
Like a brand?
supplement? Yeah.
The one that I use the most in practice, and I'll just share that, I don't have that's typically what happens is I'll find something that works really well for most people and I kind of stick to it. Designs for Health Berberine Synergy.
Got it.
The reason I like that one, so that one, I just said 500 milligrams 3 times a day, that one's 400 milligrams. So you could just do the 400 milligrams. But it also has 100 milligrams of alpha-lipoic acid. So alpha-lipoic acid is great for stabilizing blood sugar levels. It's really great for liver health and liver detoxification. It's also really great for chelating lead and other heavy metals out of the system. So I use that one. It's got a synergistic effect on the body, and I just see people do really well with that. Some people's labs don't move at all on other berberines. I think it might be a little more expensive. You know, it's like you get a bottle that has 75 capsules versus like 60 or 45, and it's so annoying. And so then you end up spending a little bit more money, and I honestly, I don't have the focus to like track it out for you. But yeah, that's the best one.
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah. Is that the one you're taking? She's like, yeah, that's what I got. I'm just kidding.
I do like designs for.
I do too. That company, I mean, there are certain, I've been in this for 20 years.
Yeah.
I worked for a supplement company a long time ago, and you know, some people are doing it better than others, and I think that that's a good one. Yeah, I like Gaia Herbs. Gaia Herbs is a B Corp. They are all plants. They're botanicals that encapsulate their herbs. They are a biodynamic farm in North Carolina. They take good care of their employees, and they're clean, and they're available everywhere. So they keep their price point accessible. They have a pro line, and they also have a public line, and that's like at Walmart, Safeway, Fred Meyer. You can get them anywhere. They have a really good daily liver health supplement, and then they have a good adrenal health supplement. Speaking of that, we need to get on the internet. Okay, so botanicals, black cohosh, I don't use it. Clinically, some people say it reduces hot flashes. I think that Raponicum and, do I need to do those? Okay, thank you. I use Raponicum and rhodiola. Those are adrenal adaptogens that help to manage those that cortisol response, because really it's that adrenal relay, which we'll talk about. And then ashwagandha, a lot of you have heard of that, but a lot of people can't take it. So I've just noticed more and more people aren't able to take ashwagandha. So I kind of stick to these rhodiola and Raponicum formulations. Passion flower is great for everyone. And then what I've been using a lot more is motherwort, because we all have mother wounds. Like, you can tell me you don't, but I mean, everybody's got something, some sort of mother wound. And it kind of, you know, the way we heal is in that spiral, right? So we just like think we're good and we kind of come back to it. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to go to counseling with her at some point, I'm sure. So, but passion flower is great, and then motherwort. They're very gentle flower preparations that help to calm the nervous system. Nutraceuticals, I'm just gonna go through these. Omega-3 fatty acids, D3, magnesium, B vitamins, vitamin E, and calcium are also, like, if you're on the email list, I'll just send the slide deck out so that everybody has this. And feel free to take pictures with your phones too. Like, that's how I roll at conferences. Just like my phones, I always have my info. Mind body therapy, CBT, my favorite that I forgot to put on here, I need to go back and do it. Integrative somatic practice, where you're going into the body. This is the most efficient way, I feel like, to move big grief, big anger, big fear. Are you leaving? Yeah. Goodbye, thank you, honey. Okay, thanks. Have fun. So yeah, these somatic practices, like going into the body, and you need a good guide, for sure. You need someone trained in it. And we can talk about that in just a second. I know, I mean, the places that I've gone and the people that I've worked with are so skillful, and my healing has just soared. I take way fewer supplements. My energy is awesome. My sleep is awesome. It's not just the hormones, because I've backed off on a lot of that stuff. The freer I get in my heart, the healthier I feel. And I highly recommend this work, this big, deep embodiment work. So we'll talk about that here at the end. clinical hypnosis, acupuncture, massage, bodywork, energy medicine. You know, these things just aren't woo, they're not woo-woo anymore. Like they're just the way. We know that light and sound and vibration, like these things help the cells remember how to function. And so if we can get, we allow that stuff to happen, and then we get our nervous systems online so that we aren't in fight all the time, we heal so much faster. And that's kind of what we're calling. We're answering that call in perimenopause and menopause. It's like, okay, I don't want to do it this way anymore. And so sometimes we just have to burn off those conditions or those expectations or the way that we were doing it. You don't have to blow up your life. You don't have to like break up with everybody you know. But you, there is an urge to get to the core of who you are and not let stuff bother you anymore. Are we still bothered by things? Are we still getting upset by things?
Getting better.
Getting better, yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, yeah. I think, you know, spiritual maturity is that distance between stimulus and response. And the more regulated we are, the healthier the body is. This is why we say tend to your temple. Like, this is our access to joy and freedom and nature and play and love and beauty and our spiritual soul purpose, right? So, but if our bodies are just, if they're gunked up, you know, with the food and the stress and everything, we just can't access that joy, you know? So, they aren't separate. Okay, I wanted to go back to this piece and then be able to answer. So, the reason that there are all these, you know, I don't want to blow over this, but I wanted to hit the hormone thing. Do you all feel like we hit the hormones and the support strategies and the kind of the foundational things? Do you feel like we covered that pretty well? Do you feel like you know what to ask for if you were to go get HRT, or what you need to kind of be on the lookout for? Okay, one thing I wanted to mention, testosterone, just go get it checked. The lab testing is not super accurate. You need to have someone who knows what they're doing. If someone says, we don't really know, the labs don't really tell us anything, they haven't necessarily been trained in hormone replacement therapy with lab testing, because I feel like I always gain something from the labs. You definitely want to check your testosterone levels. That's right in front of you. Serum testosterone, free and total, and sex hormone binding globulin. Those three things, and then your DHEA sulfate. That's going to tell us what your adrenals and your testosterone's doing. If your testosterone's low, ask for testosterone replacement therapy if you want to try it. The risks are super low because it's always really low dose. We used to start people at 1 milligram. We have been underdosing, like I said, so you can start higher, like more like 3 to 5 milligram. If I've got you on testosterone, when I see you in the office next, we need to go up. So whenever you're ready.
Is there a place on your website or anything that says what to get tested? I have an appointment coming up this week, so I'm writing all these odd little specific tests.
No, because I really can't do that. You know, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know, you can get an estradiol. It depends on where you are in your cycle. If you're still cycling, then you know, get an estradiol, get an estrone, DHEA sulfate, progesterone level. Do it on day 5 after you bleed, because then things are low. You can also do it if you're perimenopausal and suspect that you're low progesterone. You can do it between days 18 and 21.
I'm IUD, so I never really know what's going on.
Yeah, that's really hard. That having an IUD or any sort of birth control is really hard to see where your levels are. Sometimes a salivary test, or honestly doing like a Dutch hormone test, which costs a lot of money out of pocket, but it's going to show you where all of your metabolites are. So it's not going to check serum. It's going to see how well your body breaks it down and eliminates it. And then you can see really where your pathways are. That's really important. If your levels are going to be affected by something else, it's nice to see what your body's doing with the hormone. So what I'm saying is the urine metabolite test will tell us where your levels are and how your body clears it. And that's for 2 things: to see what you might need to replace, and also to see how safely you're eliminating it out of your body. I hope that makes sense. It's not great. I mean, you want to get an FSH tested if you are cycling anymore. Like if you're not having periods, if you have an IUD, if you're like between 45 and 55 and you're not having a period, you haven't had a period forever, and you have an IUD, get your FSH checked. That's follicle stimulating hormone. That goes really high when your body's trying to get out more estrogen, but it can't. Okay, so you get an estradiol level, estrone level, and an FSH level. So I'll send you all these slides so you can see. I mean, I really think this is so valuable. That menopause is often viewed as a decline, but it really is this transition, this initiation into this deeper realm of wisdom and spiritual maturity. And I think that if we can always have that in the backs of our minds, or even in the front of our hearts while we're going through this, it makes it more enjoyable, and we stay curious instead of exasperated and despondent about it. Does that land too? Okay. And then we really want to bring back and empower the elders. I mean, I was at a beautiful gathering last weekend, and I felt like an elder. I was like, oh, I'm only 44. But yeah, I've seen some shit, and I've grown a lot, and there were a lot of younger women there, and then there were women who were older than me too. I was totally embodying my wisdom, and that's what this is too. It's like being called into your wisdom. We all have it to share. We have gold for each other, and it's okay to just step into it. It's okay to completely, 100% fully step into it, because the world needs you in your radiance and in your shine and in your wisdom. Because you have wisdom for me. You're 10 years younger than me, but you have wisdom. But you have wisdom for me, and I hear you, and my heart can connect with your heart. It does not matter our age. But when we start to have this transition where we're not so focused on making babies, simply from a blueprint standpoint, we're focused on how do we keep our community thriving? How do we take care of the generations behind us? How do we steward the land? How do we connect with nature? And then how do we support each other as our bodies slow a little bit? So this is an invitation formally. It's for you to step into your eldership. And what does that look like? And sometimes you're too dang tired to do it, and that's why you need your hormones. Okay. Yeah, just some resources for you on natural sacred cycles. So why our culture struggles so much with this is truly this adrenal relay, and we touched on it so much tonight. But this is what happens: is those ovaries in perimenopause or at age 35, they start to hand over the baton to your adrenal glands. And so the ovarian production of a lot of these hormones, because your adrenals and your ovaries produce these hormones anyway. Like they're doing it at the same time throughout your life. But the ovaries stop producing and they slow down, and they're supposed to your body's supposed to rely on the adrenal function to produce enough to protect your bones, protect your heart, protect your brain. But what happens is the adrenals are busy doing other things. What does adrenal make? What do the adrenals make? Cortisol. Yeah. So if you're pumping out cortisol, your adrenals are like, you're hilarious. I know I say this all the time, but you're hilarious that you're just going to pass this baton on to me. I am so busy. I'm so busy. I do not care if her hair falls out. I do not care if her blood vessels get all stiff. Like, we'll figure it out later. It is your adrenals are interested in keeping your blood pressure normal in the moment and keeping you safe. That's it. And keeping you fed more sugar because you're blowing through your cortisol. That's why all those mindfulness practices are so important. That's why all the adrenal botanical support is important. That's why community is important. Discharging your cortisol with exercise and with breathing is so important. Getting to the core of who you are and filtering out all the crap in your life that you don't need anymore. Just so that your nervous system can stay in that rest digest state, so it's not having to pull from your adrenal glands all the time. I think you have a comment.
Always been not particularly.
Okay. So when this relay smooths the transition into menopause, it's supposed to. So you will meet women. Have you met them who aren't suffering? They're like, oh, super easy. Didn't have any hot flashes. They're straight through. Oh, my hair didn't fall out. Oh, no, just fine. I was like, okay, how many thousands of dollars did they spend on counseling? They must have been on adrenal support since they were 13 years old. They probably had 2 totally functioning parents, and grew up on an island somewhere with fresh air and fresh water. Not to say you can't have a smooth menopause transition without all of those things, but there's just the world's really different. The world's really different now, and generations ahead of us didn't actually have these symptoms like we do. So it's important that we have these conversations. When the adrenals are strong and resilient, women will experience fewer hot flashes, mood swings, and sleep disruptions. I am so grateful that I've been on adrenal support since I was 23 years old. So grateful. Because I started feeling those symptoms of perimenopause early. It was the mood stuff for sure. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to start. I started on progesterone, and then I was like, I actually looked at my levels I had my radar up for testosterone and progesterone, but not estrogen. And my nurse practitioner was just like, you know, your estrogen's actually really low. I was like, really? She's like, well, what are your periods like? I'm like, oh, like a day or two. They're super light. No, my hair's falling out. My skin's really crepey. She's like, would you like to? She wouldn't give me testosterone, but she was like, let's do some estrogen. I was like, I don't know that I really need it. She's like, okay. So, but I started on it, and it's just been really smooth. I've had like 3 hot flashes, you know. My mom went through it really young too. And I mean, I'm blowing through cortisol, like it's nobody's business, so. But I'm really grateful. It could be a lot worse. You know, I have all sorts of autoimmune markers. I was gonna tell a little bit of my story, but we're out of time. But yeah, I'm like riddled with autoimmunity. And I feel really grateful. And I think it's the adrenal support that's done it. Consistent adrenal support, clean diet, nutrition, and just playing, like a lot of play. And I discharge my emotions. I do not keep any of them in, so. You're welcome. Okay, and then why the relay breaks down in the West. Again, that's chronic stress load. Our culture is just steeped in chronic sympathetic overdrive. We know that. Work stress, financial pressure, caregiving, the myth of doing it all. This leaves us depleted. The caffeine, alcohol, and stimulants, this also just drains the adrenals. Undernourishment, not getting enough protein, too many processed foods. The sleep debt, we hit on all these things, but these are the reasons in our culture that we are going through perimenopause and menopause worse than most people, or worse than maybe more traditional cultures. And then this individualism and isolation, it's just not good for us to be in our little houses all by ourselves without our people. We need to be living together. Can we have just a night where we talk about how in the hell we're gonna figure that out?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put that on the newsletter and just see, like, we don't necessarily need to get into the hormones and the health stuff. We can talk about this, you know, I was listening to someone the other day, like, this is the time, especially with, I don't know what you think about astrology, I don't diminish it, but this is the time to actually not talk about it anymore and actually start doing it. So, moving towards that. Okay, let's go to the questions. Sleep, libido, okay. Mitochondrial health, okay, those 3 win. Libido, sleep, mitochondrial health. Libido, remember it's 5 things. It's either, this is not gonna happen with this partner, okay? You need women need emotional intimacy to have physical intimacy. Foreplay starts 3 days ago. So just remember, if you are having relationship problems, that means that you're walled off emotionally, and women need to have emotional safety in order to have that communication from your pelvic floor and your root chakra back up to your brain to say, yeah, I'm okay, I'm open to this. So you have to have clear communication with your partner. Chronic adrenal overdrive, so chronic stress, that's gonna suppress your testosterone production and your estrogen production, so you're just not gonna be driven towards having sex. They compete with each other, the testosterone and the cortisol. So cortisol's high, you're not gonna wanna have sex. Cortisol manager works great for this. That's one of my favorite supplements. It really does help to take you out of that fight flight. So if you feel like you're just overwhelmed or you're just not into it, but you like want to, take the cortisol manager. This is why wine helps. Because wine takes you out of that fight flight temporarily, and you might have sex and enjoy yourself for 20 minutes, and then you can't sleep. So you're like, well, that wasn't worth it. The sex or the wine, you know. She's reading too many books. It's really great. She's so just exposed to so much. It's great. My mom's a urogynecologist. And then low testosterone for sure. So make sure that you just have no libido, but you have a wonderful relationship with your spouse, and you really aren't that stressed. Like your testosterone, but your testosterone's never been replaced. Like it just might be testosterone. Pain, so and pelvic discomfort. So if there's vaginal dryness, the estrogen improves the blood flow, so you get aroused more easily, which is really it helps with lubrication. It is this feedback loop. If you're more comfortable here, your brain's gonna be like, we can open for business. We're okay. And it is really beautiful to see that so easily. It's just as simple as using vaginal estrogen. So that's a low threshold thing. That's a lot easier than fixing your relationship with your partner. You just slap some vaginal estrogen on your vulva and you're good to go. I think we covered them all. I think I lumped some together.
I think that's a good plug for a pelvic PT.
Yes.
I started doing that recently, and it's fascinating. Like I'm only working on relaxing right now because I guess my tone is so high.
That was my 5th one, thank you. Yeah, so this is the other thing, pelvic floor dysfunction. So if you have some sort of pelvic floor dysfunction, and it's a huge umbrella. If you came to the pelvic health talk, we talked about all that stuff. But if you have high tone and you're just so tight, Again, that's that feedback loop. You're like, I'm not open. This is not happening tonight. And so you can work with a pelvic health PT. Thank you for sharing that and reminding. You can work with a pelvic health PT to relax those muscles. Sometimes you can be so relaxed in here and so relaxed in here, but the muscles only remember how to squeeze. And so they have to be overridden, right? Like you have to train them to relax.
Yeah, you don't even realize it, because you're like, how is it? I'm so like relaxed sometimes. Why is this not?
Yeah, I mean, that's what that whole talk is about, right? Like, what's your pelvis holding? Because we hold so much stress. If you have TMJ or shoulder pain, you can probably bet that you've got some tension in the pelvic floor. And so if you're tightened in the pelvic floor, just like sort of add a tension, again, that's sending a message to the brain saying, not tonight, we're not this morning. I didn't like to do it in the morning, by the way. My testosterone is higher.
So annoying.
So annoying, it does not work for us because we don't got shit to do. But they do. And then they come home and they need space to restore. And so if they are not given that 2-hour window to just actually recover and get out of go produce mode and then get into partner love, how was your day? Can I hear about your day and not fix anything mode? They're not going to be available for any sort of fun in the evening. So remember that we got to be so much nicer to guys in general. It's not their fault. It's really not their fault. Patriarchy sucks, you know? It's really, really hard. And there's just been so much conditioning, and they don't have this. They have it in pockets, but like we got this. We have each other. We get together. We share. We're talking about hormones. And men are getting kind of left in the dust a little bit. We're going to change that. We're going to change that. Because they've got major cardiometabolic issues too. So if there is a spouse, man in your life, brother, uncle, partner, anybody in your life who's starting to see some fatigue, and they're starting to see low sex drive, and they're starting to see belly fat, and their hair starting to fall, a lot of the same symptoms we experience, please encourage them to get their cardiometabolic stuff checked out. Please encourage them to get their testosterone checked too. Part of it, and I don't want to, yeah, it's okay. You all know me, and you know, Stephanie, you love me as I am. Part of our responsibility as being elders and wise women is to take care of everybody. Remember, there's no separation. If we're not all doing great, we're not all doing great. Mic drop. Just joking. Libido. Yeah, you gotta want it. If you want it, you call me, okay? And we'll just do a quick call. Mitochondrial health. This is the oxidative stress piece. So your mitochondria are where that oxidative stress is gonna occur. We build those free radicals in the mitochondria. And so if there's more in the system than your body has the ability to eliminate, you're going to get mitochondrial strain. So if you have oxidative stress, then the mitochondrial DNA get changed. These are the free radicals. They're going to have mutations, and then they're going to give bad directions. So that means that's where we start to see changes in cellular structure. We see proliferation of abnormal tissue. This is all a mitochondrial issue. Mitochondria are also the places where you make your ATP. This is your energy. So if your mitochondria are strained, if you have excess oxidative stress in the mitochondria, you will not be phosphorylating appropriately. You won't be making ATP appropriately. So the answer is not more supplements. Give yourself more supplements, though they help. Things like CoQ10, alpha-lipoic acid, carnitine, those, and NAD. Those all support mitochondrial health. The thing that helps mitochondria more than anything is to start lightening the load. Give it less to do. Less alcohol, less stress, less heavy metals, less plastics, less chemical fragrances. I know that fewer is supposed to be used in front of some of those words. I just want to say for all the grammar people out there. But yeah, you catch my drift. Picking up what I'm putting down. So the green foods are really, really important for mitochondrial health. The berberine is really, really great. I worked in functional medicine. Specifically, I practice it. It's part of who I am. But when I was working in a specifically functional medicine clinic, there were so many supplements that we used for mitochondrial health. Vitamin C. And I just didn't see them helping long term. People would take like a bottle, they'd feel great for like a week, and then they wouldn't feel great. It's like, we were not pulling out the things that were actually in the way. We were trying to like override it, and it wasn't working efficiently long term. So, you know, the last couple things I'll say is we've gotten really good at justifying our vices whether it's sugar or oat milk or alcohol or stress or exercise or whatever, or just not exercise, whatever it is, we're really good at it. And you can have it however you want it. You can live however you want it. But if you come to me and you want improved energy and vitality and be closer to God and to nature, I'm not religious up here, I'm just saying oneness or spirit. I'm gonna say, like, you gotta clean this up, you know? Yeah, that means spiritually, energetically, nutritionally. And then, I mean, unfortunately, I wish there weren't any toxins at all on the estradiol patch. We got some weird glues in there, I'm just gonna say. If you are sensitive to glues, get the Vival dot. So we can't keep everything as clean as we'd like it, but the food we can, and how we choose to spend our time and our energy. So, I think we got it. GLP-1s, they're great. Ozempic, tirzepatide, those things, if you want to use them with someone who knows how to prescribe them. Don't use the high doses. Microdosing is working great for people. GLP-1s are all the weight loss drugs, the obesity drugs. In smaller doses, they have potent anti-inflammatory effects. We're seeing them as powerful immune regulators, and so they are modulating autoimmune expression. There are other peptides now that are available that are not the same GLP-1s, things like BP157, KP7. So those are going to be more common. You'll see these other things more common, but they're modulators. So they're just telling your body how to do things the right way. Yeah.
Don't they slow down the food and keep it more in the digestive tract? Which
Yeah, the GLP-1s specifically do that, yeah.
I want to, like, let's keep this thing flowing. So I'm surprised that you say they're okay.
They promote satiety. Well, not the way that they're prescribed for everybody. Yeah, like these high doses of Ozempic for people. I mean, they're okay when, like I said. So what I said was they're okay if you're using them with someone who knows how to use them and customize them. When people are just like, here's Trulicity, good luck. I get a little bit bummed because I start to see people lose their muscle mass really fast. I'm like, ugh. Doing a GLP-1 without nervous system regulation support, nutrition support, gut support, hormone support, I think is not the way to do it. To do a lower dose, if you're really stuck, or if you have autoimmune stuff too, or if you just know that, like, I need something to get me past this. Because some people do have really sticky pathways, like really, really sticky behaviors and habits. Sometimes we need help. And again, I think we're all justified in using these things because we didn't do this, you know, like the world is just so crazy. There are circumstances beyond our control. I know we have a lot of control over a lot of things. And I'm not saying we're all victims here because that's not it. I don't want anyone, we're not claiming victimhood, none of us, okay? None of us are victim people, okay? We have the power. But like, we can use a leg up if we need it. Safely, low dose with someone who knows what they're doing.
What's the dot?
Vival dot, so that's the transdermal estradiol patch. There are lots of different patches out there, and I'm just seeing a lot of people come back with adhesive allergies to some of the cheaper ones. And so I always prescribe Vival dot. If your insurance covers Vival dot, then that's great. Sometimes they'll give you like a Climera or a Dottie patch. I'm on a hunt right now to see which manufacturers. Right now I haven't seen a consistent manufacturer that's causing an adhesive reaction, but the Vival dot doesn't typically cause any reaction at all. So I think it's a higher quality patch, yeah. Yes?
Okay. So you mentioned oat milk.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It's like you're hitting all my vices. I'm trying not to freak out that you're hitting all my vices, but I'm going, oh my
Welcome.
gosh.
They all know this already.
Right.
Yeah.
The oat milk surprised me. Can you tell me a little more
I
about
can,
what's
yeah.
the negative of the oat milk?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So oat milk is high glycemic. It is going to spike your blood sugar levels. It froths a great cappuccino. I know. But it's high glycemic, so it's going to spike blood sugar levels in this perimenopause, menopause period. I probably said the word glucose 10 times. Glucose regulation is essential for keeping your hormones in balance. So any spike, we're trying to avoid any spikes. It's also full of phytates. So it's not like you're getting a soaked grain that's been properly prepared and fermented. You're getting an oat, hopefully it's gluten-free. If it's not organic, it's full of glyphosate, which we know pokes holes in the gut. And then the phytates, it's a chemical on the outside of the grain that helps protect it from getting broken down in the system. So that means that it's like not digesting properly, so that phytate can cause irritation in the gut lining. So it's my least favorite milk substitute. My favorite milk substitute would be hemp milk, but again, you're getting all these gums. It's just a shame we can't all do dairy.
What about lactose-free milk?
Yeah, so some people do fine with lactose-free milk, especially like the A2 organic grass-fed milk. People who hadn't ever been able to do dairy.
Yeah, I've recently come across it and I didn't think I could do it and it's just been like amazing.
Yeah, so if you could do a lactose-free grass-fed milk and not have the gums and the fillers and the phytates, you're way better off.
Yeah.
And you're getting that vitamin A and the D that come with the milk, the good sun-soaked milk. It's really good, which is crazy because my tune was anti-dairy for a really long time. And now we know about A2 and we're getting the grass-fed milk and then we can do the lactose-free milk. Casein still bothers some people. Remember with milk, it's not just lactose, it's also casein. So if you've got major like inflammatory bowel disease or generalized inflammation or constipation, you still want to avoid dairy altogether. Give yourself some time to heal. But if you are pretty good at baseline, you might be better off with a lactose-free grass-fed half and half over the oat milk. So, yeah. I have a little series on Instagram called the Buzzkill series. Oat milk is one of them, so I'm very sorry.
I was just wondering, you were gonna list like your favorite substitutes, milk substitutes.
I was just starting that right. Hemp milk,
Oh, no, right.
yeah. Hemp milk, coconut milk. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Almond is in the compromise list. And then soy and oat are just on the bottom. They're so heavily GMO'd. I mean, they're just
Even the organic, 3 ingredient.
soy stuff.
No, the almond milk.
Oh, so soy and oat way down here.
Okay.
Way down here. Almonds like, okay. Oh, it's okay. It's like over here. Yeah, it's okay. We overeat almonds because we're doing all this gluten-free stuff, so we gotta be careful about that. Yeah, Raina.
Well, I
Just gonna be on mindful of time. Amanda probably wants to go home.
that
Okay, finger
the
brush.
hemp milk, the hemp seed milk is a real easy one to make.
Yes, so you don't have to do the
You told
gums.
me like put in a date with it's like a quarter cup of hemp seeds, or I'll do less if I'm doing less. And I don't feel like I have to strain it. I just put it in my NutriBullet.
Yeah, thank you. It's delicious. So hemp seed, like third cup of hemp seeds, cup of water. You can change the ratio if you want. A date or 2, and then a sprinkle of salt. I put a couple dates in there, and then a sprinkle of salt. And you just have to drink it quicker because it doesn't have any preservatives in it. But it's delicious.
Wow.
It's delicious. And if you have a good blender, like a pulverizer, it'll make it nice and creamy.
We put it in our coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do it with
Like,
this.
we're not eating cereal, right? I thought we were not doing grains. Like,
And I like 'em.
people come in and they're like, "What about my milk?" I'm like, "What do you put in your milk?" I'm like, "Cereal." I'm not eating cereal either. Like, are you kidding me? I'm just, it's okay. I'm not gonna change. Just so you know, I want us to all be healthy and take over, make the world a beautiful place. Yeah, Chris.
When you mentioned magnesium, you said glycinate and threonate? You're talking about 2 different types of magnesium, we should be taking both.
Well, yeah, there's lots of different kinds. So magnesium
Yes.
glycinate's well absorbed by the body. It helps with making bowel movements. Magnesium brings water into the bowel, so it's gonna help you with bowel movements. Some magnesium forms bring a lot of water in. Some bring it in a controlled, manageable, reasonable fashion. Glycinate's one of them. Glycinate's used really efficiently by your mitochondria, so that's the one I really like. Threonate's great for the brain. Gets past the blood-brain barrier, so it's great for cognitive stuff and it's for calming the nervous system. Malate helps to relax the muscles. So there are lots of magnesium blends you can try, but not everybody needs all of them. So I typically recommend the magnesium glycinate, the Designs for Health magnesium glycinate complex.
What about
So-
citrate?
Citrate can blow your bowels out. So we don't use it a lot. We use it in the hospital setting sometimes to get the bowels going, but it moves so much out. Yeah, I just don't use it. It's a little harder on the gut. But magnesium carbonate is in the natural, the nature calm. What's the stuff? Calm. The calm stuff that you can get. They call it the fizzy drink. Again, more sweeteners. I don't know what's worse, gel caps or sweeteners in the drinks. So, okay, if there are no other questions, these are the ways that we can. I'm really excited about what's coming. I don't know exactly what's coming because there's some stuff up in the air for me professionally, but this is coming for sure. I just don't know how much of it will be coming. But group metabolic coaching starting in January. So I built a metabolic wellness program, and the institution where I work isn't picking it up. They're not going to do it. And so they're like, well, you can do it on your own. I'm like, well, I will. So it's a 12-week program where we do your labs at the beginning. We meet 6 times in 12 weeks and hit all the foundations. So all the foundations I've talked about. So we'll do that, and we'll cohort up and just we'll go every 12 weeks, and it'll be a low-cost option, a community option. I think it's a great thing. People get close and they have each other and they can hold each other accountable. And you can make friends. And then there's the option within it to perform labs and schedule a one-on-one review with me. So you don't have to do the labs to do it. You can just run the foundations. But if you wanted to set some goals specifically, you would do the labs at the beginning and then again at the end. I do actively right now have a vitality coaching program. It's 2 months. There are 4 visits in 8 weeks. Where we do your labs at the beginning, we review it, and there are 4 visits specifically, and that's on my website. So if you're interested, if you know someone who just really needs a reset, and they just don't know where to start, it's 4 visits. It's really reasonably priced for what it is right now. And I'm not taking a lot of people because I don't have a ton of time, in the days. But this is something I feel really passionate about. We get to drop in. We really get to drop in. So, and then, like I said, major metabolic and emotional transformation. So I do something called it's just basically heart-led coaching, and we really do empty out. My whole thing is vitality equals power minus obstruction. So getting the things that are obstructing out of the way, and that's not just oat milk and and alcohol, right? And then individualized functional medicine consulting. This is something I've always offered. So you do an initial visit and then a lab review and follow up as needed. So you don't have to you're not committing to a program, but there's always an initial fee because it's just more upfront, more work upfront. But I'm a PA, I'm not a doctor, so I charge lower rates, and I'm happy. It's affordable for a functional medicine world. And then I do our HRT and metabolic wellness through that. So you can go to the website. I'll send out a new newsletter and let you know what in the world's going to happen, because I really don't know what's going to happen. And then that course that I made, I know it's not super beautiful and polished. It's 2 hours straight of the foundations. It's everything that I've all these slides. I talk a little fast, but you have all the information there. And I didn't separate it into lessons. I just kept recording. And so anybody who comes to New Temple, I don't even know what the price is. It changes so many times, but you get 50% off whatever that price is. So if you want it and you're like, I don't want to pay that, just message me. Whatever you want to pay. I'll be like, best offer, OBO. I just want people to have it if they want it, but I also put 20 years into it, so I want to get something, some reciprocity for it. And I'm candid about that. Yeah, Raina, last thing, what's up?
So is most of your work, all that stuff there, is it with a certain age group, or do you work with
Everybody.
everybody?
And men too, so I'm seeing men too.
Okay.
Yeah. Not children though.
What, not 18, under 18, or?
I think under 18, no.
Okay.
Just there's some pediatric,
But 18 up?
18 and up, yeah, adults. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Trying to figure out how to get this type of stuff to the girls.
Yeah, they need it. I mean, and that's the thing. It's there's so much to do. There are so many groups that need this information. And it's simple. It's simple information. This is not rocket science. This is quit stressing out, quit eating sugar, move your body, and touch, sleep, for crying out loud, right? But we've overcomplicated it. So I think this is part of what we need, is just that distillation process. So I'm open. Email me anytime if there's something you want, or you want to meet and we want to create something together. Say you want to get together and do an adolescent group, we can do that. I think that my bandwidth is just it's kind of narrow, but what I tell people is make it happen, get the group there, and I'll come and we'll talk. That's something I really feel passionate about. It's just getting this information out. I know a lot of stuff, but you know a lot of stuff too, and sometimes we just need to get it together and create a structure for it. Okay. Thank you for coming on a gorgeous Sunday evening. Really grateful for all of you.